in the black compression trunks. No touch of gloves. Straight to the action.
Crawford with a very high traditional boxing guard. Slightly wider stance and guard for Jasboutis.
Touching on it briefly, Crawford's got a lot to lose in this one. He's giving up an incredible amount of experience, and we hear the term journeyman thrown around a lot in mixed martial arts, and it's usually for guys who just come in, take a few shots and fall over. That is absolutely not what Antanas Jasboutis is. This guy is a tough guy. He's fought many notable names over really generations of the fight game here in the UK. He's a huge test for Crawford, and that's got to be in the back of Crawford's mind. He's not going to have anything that's going to surprise Jasboutis here, you believe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some good, very straight, nice technical pivoting shots from Jasboutis. See Crawford trying to duck his way in. Lovely straight 1-2.
Jasboutis representing Team Renegade here tonight, and you see Tom Breese, UFC star, in his corner.
I mean, that's a fantastic gym, and really the most local gym, I think, competing on the card tonight. Two here, but they've got fantastic jiu-jitsu, great wrestling, and the striking to go with it. Phenomenal camp.
Good work to hit the body and then wrap the neck up from Crawford, but Jasboutis has turned him onto the cage here.
Yeah, let's see what Crawford's takedown defense is like. At the moment, he's trying to spread those legs sort of as wide as he can along the cage. Or at least if Jasboutis goes to reach with that left hand, he certainly will do. But Jasboutis can switch off to the single here as well. You see he's now locked up the one leg. He's going to try and lever that and pull it all the way across his body, drive the knee to the far side of the cage, essentially. Try and spin Kingsley down, but you see he's putting all his weight, straightening that leg as much as possible. And I wonder if Jasboutis is going to have to abandon this and perhaps switch off to the other leg.
The veteran might be happy to just wear the clock down a little bit here, make Crawford carry his weight.
Well, that's it. Wear is an interesting choice of word, because that's what he's doing with that shoulder. He's wearing on Crawford. You see he's lifting him up off his toes, just using the shoulder pressure, and that digs into the midsection, confuses the breathing slightly. It's just unpleasant pressure to be under for a sustained period of time.
Make your word in, gents.
Crawford's made no bones about the fact that he's coming out here to entertain tonight, so does that mean he's perhaps going to take some risks that the savvy veteran won't? You've got to believe that Jasboutis will be happy to get a win by any means necessary here, so that really could be a telling factor as this fight wears on, the patience and veteran savvy of Jasboutis.
Make your word, gents. I'm going to split you up. I need to see some progress.
And you hear referee Leon Roberts there just asking for a little bit more action, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, look,
okay, clean break.
There you go, there's the break. Jasboutis is not really working too consistently to try and advance or change the position. And at that point, if you're not throwing a decent volume of strikes, you're going to get pulled up, as we saw there.
Crawford looking to reset in the middle. There's a spinning back kick to the body from Jasboutis. Let's see if Crawford wants to do a little bit of one-upmanship here. Oh, nice body shot.
Yeah, that was lightning straight as well.
Crawford just 20 years old, a full 16 years younger than his opponent here tonight.
A good combination from Crawford. That's 5 shots in a row, all off the left side of the body. 2 strikes, the kick and then the 2 knees, really making Jasboutis guess where the next one was coming from.
And there's a bit of blood that's appeared on the chest of Kingsley Crawford, which I want to say is coming from somewhere on the head of Jasboutis after that exchange.
Yeah, I think he got opened up by either one of the knees or the kick. And he blocked most of it, but there's still a great deal of force that gets through that guard.
Looking to trip the leg out there as he searches for a takedown as Jasboutis.
This is a good position if he can connect his hands together, even just by the fingertips with an S-grip. He's going to get some sort of purchase on the hips. You can see he's driving forward the whole time, and there we go. Good takedown from Jasboutis. See, what that's doing is driving forward with your shoulder, actually pins the guy on the cage and makes his hips lighter, so you can really lift him up and get the turn.
Fine.
What he's got to do is keep him here, though, and that's easier said than done.
And bear in mind as well, he's exerted all that energy fighting for this takedown and only really a few seconds left to play with it. Certainly not enough to heavily sway the round in his favour.
Time, Jens.
A strong finish, and perhaps one that's going to instill him with a bit of confidence.
He is fine. He is no good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be a good bit of confidence builder for Jas Bootis. But you know, as you say, the thing the judges are going to be looking at are those significant strikes from Crawford that probably opened up a cut on the head of Jas Bootis.
Well, let's take a look now at the ISO Sport replays here at Cage Warriors 98, and a beautiful right hand to the body from Kingsley Crawford there.
Yeah, and here's, I think we're going to see that combination where he went left hand, left kick as well. So they were good straight shots from both of them throughout this bout. Jas Bootis had some of his own. This was into the knees. He tried the jumping knee as well.
Good work with the guard there around the body from Jas Bootis. And that's what we talk about when we mention veteran savvy. Caught the head kick there.
Yeah, with the kick and the two punches, I think perhaps the kick wrapped all the way around the back and cut the back of the head.
An interesting first round, and as we suggested, Josh, Jas Bootis not just here to make up the numbers tonight. He's certainly going to put Kingsley Crawford through the ringer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in terms of professional rounds, that's a great professional round for Kingsley Crawford to have under his belt. There's a bit of everything, some success in the striking, some good takedown defense, and, you know, a little bit of adversity for him.
Jas Bootis opening up his account in the second round with that left high kick. As Crawford chases his man around the cage. Just a little bit short with that leg kick.
I didn't hear what the corner of Crawford said to him between rounds, but it wouldn't surprise me if they said open up with your hands a little bit more.
It's not waiting. Uppercut.
He's got a little bit of range on Jas Bootis, it seems.
Yeah, well, we just heard his corner say stop waiting. That's exactly what they want. They want higher volume, higher work rate, because they know these scoring shots are finding the mark.
Yeah, look, every time he covers King, throw.
They'll be wary of the return fire from Jas Bootis, but Crawford looking very confident here in the second round, Josh.
Yeah, nice snap kick from Jas Bootis. Comes really off the front quad though and flicks out. Wasn't going to do any damage, but certainly scored.
Beautiful stuff from Crawford there to land the straight right and slip the counter. Jas Bootis now trying to secure that clinch, but he's going to get framed up against the cage here.
Yeah, nice left frame, and he breaks away. He looks for the shots again.
Crawford looking a lot more aggressive in the second round, Josh.
Yeah, he certainly is. That was brilliant timing on that knee.
John, they actually caught him in the shoulder. Crawford pouncing now, though, trying to get that right hand off.
Yeah, you can tell Jas Bootis isn't quite all there
Watch your heads, gents, watch your heads.
Not to mention the hit to the gas tank from being winded like that.
It looked like that knee caught him on the shoulder, but you know, it could well have glanced up onto the jaw there and just rattled him a little bit. We'll perhaps get a couple of angles on that during the break between rounds, if indeed it goes that far. Crawford looking like he might be putting his foot on the gas here in the second.
I think the change of pace from him is excellent. Good decision.
Good.
Getting that jab working now. Those straight shots really are doing the trick for Kingsley Crawford. Seems to be very confident at this range now.
Yeah, he's just established a good range to strike from. He's just got it right on the end of the punches. And then, you know, he's throwing sensible combinations, and then every so often he's putting one of those dynamic techniques in, and they just become even harder to predict. Good head movement from Jas Bootis though in defense. Crawford got right in the pocket and didn't really land anything.
We heard the corner of Crawford there saying he's slowing down, he's getting tired. They clearly want their man to continue this aggressive performance that we've seen in the second round. Beautiful straight right there.
There's a couple of times when Jas Bootis has been trying to roll away. He's caught a punch square to the side of the head.
That's it, mate. Now we stay there. Stay there now.
Crawford giving the veteran a lot to think about here. Final
No mistakes.
minute and a half of this round.
It's a really good round for Crawford. Not really
What, mate?
any question up to this point, at least, of which way this round is going to go. And there's definitely some fatigue, I think, setting into Jas Bootis a little bit.
Yeah, looked like a slip there, but you know, he got caught with the right hand and wobbled again.
That's it, Kings. Go. Throw.
Needs to get his balance back underneath him. There's Jas Bootis.
Close the distance a little bit. Excellent, Kingsley. Time off. Good.
Looking to get that tight clinch working perhaps there was Crawford, but Jas Bootis able to circle away and get his back off the cage.
This is a much higher work rate from Crawford now. I mean, I'm sure that momentum of the bout in general has spurred him on to throw a little bit more.
Best shot of the round there from Jas Bootis with that nice little 1-2 that landed, but Crawford's firing back with multiple shots.
Yeah, and he's mixing up the target area so well now. Went to the body, went to the head with the kick, head with the punch.
And whenever Jas Bootis ducks in the face of offense, you see the knee come up from Crawford. Exactly the kind of fight he needs as a young fighter. He's getting valuable minutes here that he wouldn't get if he was fighting a guy of lesser experience who's just going to cave.
Good plumb clinch, mixes in the short elbow. I like a lot of the decisions this young man's making, you know, and defensively he makes some really nice postures when he keeps his guard in place.
Jas Bootis caught an elbow there towards the top of the head. I'm not sure if that perhaps rung his bell a little bit.
Yeah, he's opened up a little bit more with the cut.
And again, Jas Bootis, as we saw at the end of the first round, is complaining to the referee about the positioning of those elbows. The referee says, no, they're right on the line. They're absolutely fine.
Yeah, it's also a question of Jas Bootis is catching a lot when he rolls himself away. And the reality is you strike the target area as presented to you. You know, here we see in the replay that jumping knee.
Yeah, Dick glanced just off the shoulder there. So perhaps a lucky escape for Jas Bootis, but taking more offense on the way out of this exchange.
Yeah, good left hook there. Huge searching shots to the body we saw in this round as well.
And the straight right hand has possibly been the most consistent strike from Crawford, as we see one hooked around to the body there. And the Cutman having a fair bit to do in terms of the top of Jas Bootis' head. Usually they're focusing around the eyes and nose, but it's the elbows and knees to the top of the head. And as you pointed out, Josh, the amount of rolling he's been doing to try and slip these shots, he's left open some unusual target areas, and Crawford happy to take advantage.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's not intentional to strike the back of the head if you happen to clip a prohibited area because your opponent has moved in a certain way. That's just part of the game.
One of the most experienced referees on the circuit, Leon Roberts, is happy with the shot placement so far, so are we. Jas Bootis with 4.5 minutes to get something done here in the third and final round of this preliminary contest here at Cage Warriors 98.
I think on balance, Jas Bootis is going to need to find a finish here. Crawford, I don't think he needs to change anything from the second round, quite frankly. It was a good display from him. If he can maintain that kind of work rate and volume of striking, it should be a good round for him.
Speaking of work rate and volume of striking, we've got Paul McBain versus Aiden Lee coming up later on. Lewis Monarch and Dean Truman, those four men in the opening stage of our featherweight Grand Prix. Of course, a huge welterweight world title fight between Stefano Paterno and the undefeated Ross Houston is our main event this evening. Cage Warriors 98 has you covered for your combat sports fix here in Birmingham.
Really nice short knee on the inside from Crawford. I mean, I wonder if Jas Bootis needs to go back to looking for a takedown. Well, there we go.
Tried to change levels there, but just unable to complete, and it, again, really left the head open for perhaps some elbow strikes or free punches there.
Yeah, he stayed very upright and just kind of lost a bit of the zip. And just kind of mistimed himself.
And with a guy as dangerous with his knees as Crawford is, that's a very risky path to go down. Crawford looking like he can just pick his shots here, Josh.
Yeah, good single shots there. Jas Bootis Bootis can still make him flinch a little bit, but he's got to throw in.
Watch your heads, gents. Watch your heads.
Combination, and you just wonder if Jas Bootis is starting to really fade more here.
They do look to be fairly nasty cuts in the back of the head of Jas Bootis, but the upside to that is that we can see that they are in legal strike zones. So
yeah, they're also nowhere near the eyes. That's a good flurry from him. It's a shame he stopped though. He closed the distance against the cage. There we go, backs him up very nicely. He's got to waste no time in going for the takedown though. That's it, he's got to hustle.
Let's go. Out the back, out the back, out the back.
And the clock really could be his biggest enemy here. 2 minutes left to play with in this featherweight contest, and Thanasis Jas Bootis trying to salvage something against the silent assassin Kingsley Crawford. He really has had his run of the play here so far.
Something.
Yeah, this slow grind against the cage is not going to get the job done, and Leon Roberts is already in.
Let's work.
Warning him that he needs to move. He tries to connect the hands again. I mean, he's got to switch off to a single here or try and look to reap the leg. But Crawford's doing a really good job of keeping him levered up high with that left crossface and that right overhook. Trying to pull him up and away from the hips.
Nice knee to the body and really wrenches the neck there, did Crawford, to try and get out from the cage. But there's a nice takedown from Jas Bootis.
Good single, but it's getting very slippery in there. Jas Bootis staying on him. Hustle, hustle, hustle.
Bad position here for Jas Bootis, trying to turn away from those knees.
I mean, you wonder if that might be the last flurry for him.
Right kick, right! Get back in the middle, Kings. Elbows if you want, elbows if you want. They're there.
Crawford looking to create some space perhaps here. Great defense to come out in top position.
If you want to stand up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
The Uchimata from Jas Bootis, but never really got his upper body grips in place. And
there was no danger of Crawford jumping into the guard of Jas Bootis there. He's done a lot of work to keep this fight on the feet where he wants it. And you heard the corner there calling for the jab. And you've got to believe he's going to be happy to just strike from range here against Jas Bootis in the final 20 seconds of the contest.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what he needed, a decent amount of cage time, good opponent, lots of varied exchanges.
Throwing those spinning techniques out still. I'm not sure if that was intentional to duck underneath that kick, but we'll say it was and say that was fantastic.
Baseball slide in defense, that could have gone very wrong for him.
Well, a flashy finish to what has to be said is a flashy outing for Kingsley Crawford. Going to take a look at some of the replays now from this third round. This was finally the takedown from Jas Bootis there, Josh.
Yeah, it's a good single leg, but Crawford doing a good job of kicking away to stand up, and you can see he just gets that left hand just to deflect enough. Again, kicks away. And Jas Bootis just can't pursue him quick enough, and it ends up getting forced to turn away.
Just a little bit too little, too late from the veteran and Thanasis Jas Bootis. Our scorecards are being tallied, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a decision across the board in favour of the young Kingsley Crawford, just 20 years old, on his way to picking up his third victory as a professional here tonight, Josh. And based on what we've seen from him against a storied veteran, the future does look bright.
Yeah, I think that's, as I said, that's a really good fight for him to get under the belt. I absolutely think the judges are going to see this as a decision win for him, and I very much look forward to seeing him come back against, perhaps another young hot prospect. It'll be a nice change of pace for him in the next match.
Plenty more to come here at Cage Warriors 98. 2 more bouts on our preliminary card live on Facebook, but for now we'll throw this one to our MC, Andy Freelander, in the cage, and he will make it official.
After 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges scored this contest 30-26, 30-27, and 29-28. All in favour of your winner by unanimous decision, the silent assassin, Kingsley Crawford.
Well, no alarms and no surprises in Birmingham. The silent assassin gets his hand raised for the 3rd time as a professional. He'll join Andy Freelander in the cage.
Kingsley. Not so silent tonight because the crowd were cheering every one of your 8 weapons being thrown. It was elbows, feet, hands, knees, the whole gamut tonight. You must be very pleased with that performance.
Nah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Well, you say that. What goals did you set yourself? You're in against a guy who's got masses of experience. We know that this is your 3rd fight of the year in 2018 when you've turned pro. Why are you so disappointed? What were you trying to do?
I mean, it just wasn't my best performance. I made too many mistakes. I didn't capitalize enough.
We have got a few shots there of you. I think this was a matter of hands. You looked for a nice early knee, and I think at the end of the 2nd round, you caught him with a short elbow that seemed to finish it. I think the horn came in to his advantage.
Yeah, I hurt him a couple of times, but he's a tough guy. I have to respect him for that. You know, he went 15 minutes with me. I've got to respect that.
Well, if we're going to be hypercritical, and I know your team and you are going to analyse this tomorrow morning, where do you feel that if you could play that back, you maybe would have improved? What mistakes do you think you made?
I overextended too much. Too many mistakes, overextending. I was falling into him. It was sloppy work.
Well, you were a Londoner. Cage Warriors are back in London in March. Hopefully by then you'll be a bit more pleased with yourself and you might even get on the card.
Yeah, I'll be ready. You guys come.
Ladies and gentlemen, quietly smoking, the silent assassin, the victor tonight. He is Kingsley Crawford.
Certainly